Hello and welcome to our explainer. Have people ever wondered what really goes into building a modern website? Today, we're pulling back the curtain to look at the engine that powers so many of them, the core recipe that makes everything tick. Let's get right into it. So, let's start with the big question. How is a modern website actually built? Well, to make sense of it all, let's try thinking of a website not as lines of code, but as a busy digital restaurant. It's a great analogy that perfectly captures the two fundamental parts of any web application. So on one side, we have the front end. This is the client side, or in our analogy, the dining room. It's absolutely everything a user sees and interacts with, the tables, the menus, the decor. And then on the other side, we have the back end. That's the server side, and it's our kitchen, the hidden powerhouse where all the magic really happens. Okay, so to run this digital restaurant, we're going to need an all-star team. And in the world of web development, one of the most popular teams out there is called the MERN Stack. It's a complete set of technologies that can build our entire restaurant, from the kitchen all the way to the dining room. So let's meet the crew. First up, we've got MongoDB. Think of this as the restaurant's giant, well-organized pantry. It's the database, a massive storage room where every single piece of information, from user accounts to menu items, is kept safe and ready to be grabbed at a moment's notice. Next on the team is Express.js. This is the kitchen's master toolbox. It's a framework that gives our chefs all the pre-built tools, recipes, and systems they need to make the kitchen run like a well-oiled machine. It handles all the common tasks so they don't have to waste time building every single pot and pan from scratch. And now, let's head out to the dining room. That's built with React.js. React is in charge of all the decor, the layout, and the entire experience for the customer. It creates a really dynamic and interactive user interface that makes the dining room not just beautiful, but also super functional. And finally, there's Node.js. Node isn't just a tool, it's the entire kitchen itself, the whole environment. It's what we call the runtime, and it's what allows the back end to even exist. It provides the space, the electricity, and the plumbing that lets our chefs and their Express toolbox get to work. And here's the real secret sauce of the MERN Stack. The entire team, from the kitchen crew running Node and Express to the front-of-house staff designing with React, they all speak the exact same language, JavaScript. This is huge because it makes communication absolutely seamless and development incredibly efficient. All right, so we've got a dining room and a kitchen, but how do they talk to each other? How does an order from a customer actually get to the chefs? Well, that's where maybe the most important team member comes in, the API. And for our purposes, it acts as our digital waiter. The whole process follows this really simple, elegant cycle. It all starts when a customer in the dining room places an order. Our digital waiter, the API, takes that order and zips the request over to the kitchen. Then, the server and database get to work, processing it and preparing the dish. Finally, the waiter delivers that finished dish right back to the customer's table. And that, right there, is the fundamental request-response cycle in action. Now, this might make one wonder, why do we even need a waiter? Why not just let the customer walk right into the kitchen and grab whatever they need? Well, in a real restaurant and in a web application, that would lead to absolute chaos. See, the API isn't just a waiter. It's also a bouncer. It's security. It protects the kitchen from unauthorized access, makes sure only valid orders get placed, and keeps the entire operation organized and secure. Without that API acting as a gatekeeper, the whole system could just break down. So, for this to work, the waiter and the customer need to have a shared language so they can communicate clearly. And in the digital world, this language is a set of standardized requests and responses that everyone involved understands. That language is made up of a few core commands. A GET request is basically like looking at the menu to read the options. A POST request is for placing a new order. A PUT request is for changing an order that's already been placed, and a DELETE request is, of course, for canceling an order. They're simple, clear commands for very specific actions. Of course, in the real world, things don't always go perfectly. A customer might order something that's not on the menu, or maybe the kitchen runs out of a key ingredient. So how does the waiter communicate these problems? Well, errors are communicated with special status codes. Think of it like this. A 400-level error means the customer messed something up. They tried to order something that doesn't exist. But a 500-level error, that means something went wrong back in the kitchen. Maybe the oven broke. It's a really simple way to know exactly where the problem is. So we've met the whole team, we've seen how they communicate, and we know how they handle problems. Now it's time to put it all together and serve that final dish, a live, working web application. From the pantry of MongoDB through the toolbox of Express running in the Node.js kitchen, all delivered by our API waiter, and then presented beautifully by React in the dining room, every single one of these components works in perfect harmony to create a seamless digital experience that can be served to anyone, anywhere in the world. The MERN Stack gives us the restaurant, the staff, and the entire blueprint for how to run the place. It is an incredibly powerful recipe for building just about any kind of modern website. The only question left is, what will be on the menu? Thanks for joining this explainer.